What is up, my friends? Welcome back to Jones Vibes. Today we are talking about vengeance. And we're also talking about the Scream franchise, but I did want to highlight there will be some vengeance talk.
That's awesome!
It seemed like a good idea to make a quick update video for you guys because two of our favorite things, the Scream franchise as well as the Batman, have been being talked about quite a bit. You got the Batman, all the news with Robert Pattinson. Is he going to be the DCU's Batman? There was also a delay, so the Batman Part 2 has been pushed out to 2027. People have been losing their minds over all of this stuff and talking about it. Luckily for us, Matt Reeves was interviewed by Josh Horowitz on the Golden Globes red carpet, and Josh asked, honestly, some banger questions. A lot of stuff was cleared up, and also some more questions were raised for me, so I want to break down that. Also, Scream 7 has now entered into production, and there's a boatload to talk about with that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. As always, be sure to head down in the comments, let me know all of your thoughts on all of this, and without further ado, let's dive in. I want to start with Scream 7. Scream 7 has now entered production, and this is exciting. It's honestly exciting for me just because the post-Scream 6 era has been very toxic. If you're familiar at all with any sort of Scream fan communities online, you'll know that it's just been a back and forth ever since the Melissa Barrera removal from Scream 7 and then Christopher Landon stepping down and so on and so on. And as for me, I think I've addressed a little bit of this on my channel before, but I don't want to get too into it. All I will say is that I'm a Scream fan. I'm not a Sidney Prescott fan or a Sam fan. I am a Ghostface fan. I am a fan of this franchise and the movies within it and what goes on behind the scenes. Everybody's entitled to have their own opinion, but there's no reason not to be excited about a new installment, especially when you have people that are within the DNA of this franchise stepping in to take over. You got Kevin Williamson. I mean, this guy is so important to this franchise, and he's stepping in as director. He's super stoked about it, and then you have Sidney Prescott coming back to lead this thing. That's just a lot to be excited about. Everything that I've heard behind the scenes sounds like they've come up with a really good idea for this film. Neve Campbell decided to sign on. Obviously, there was all the drama with, her pay and everything with Scream 6, but she's back, and that's great news. And honestly, it might seem like there's been a ton of these movies. Wow, Scream 7. That's a lot of movies, 7 movies, but truly it isn't. The way that I look at it, there was 1 through 4, there was a long extended break from that. Then we had 5 and 6, which 5 and 6 are now just gonna kind of be sandwiched in the middle of this. And I think the thing that people are most curious about is how they're going to connect 5 and 6 to Scream 7. And that's a solid question, and there's a lot to talk about there. But at the end of the day, having Sidney Prescott come back, this feels like a really, really solid continuation of where we left off in Scream 4. And that's what I think a lot of us fans have been dying to see. You got a little bit of her in Scream 5, and that was cool, but then we had sort of what felt like, and I think what was planned to be, the passing of the torch to Sam. And although I was excited about seeing Sam's story continue and seeing what just cool ideas they had cooked up for us in the Core 4 and all of that stuff, it seemed exciting. But if we're going to go anywhere, if we're going to have anybody step in, Kevin Williamson continuing the story of Sidney Prescott, this is about as good as it gets. I'm very excited about it. This is where I want things to be, and I'm satisfied with where things are at this point. But production was actually announced by Kevin Williamson on Instagram, and this was a very fun post. I found it really sweet. He said, "I'm not supposed to post about Scream, and I hope Spyglass Media and Paramount will forgive me, but when you have one of the best days of your life, it's really hard to keep it to yourself. What an extraordinary day I had working with an amazing and talented cast and crew. They brought their A game and had my back every step of the way. I'm so grateful for this opportunity, and to Wes Craven, who was on my mind through it all. The profound impact he has had on my life and career is endless. What a day. I can't wait for tomorrow." And again, just exciting. I think this story has come together in a way that everybody feels really confident about. You also have people like Mason Gooding being added to this cast. There have even been rumors that Jasmine Savoy Brown could potentially be making a comeback. That has not been confirmed, but just the fact that we have some characters from 5 and 6 definitely helps connect, like I was talking about. And then you have all the new stuff, and we have a pretty big cast that's been confirmed, and this is something that I wanted out of this film. Scream 6, it almost felt like, okay, if the Core 4 are safe, there's really only like 2 or 3 of them that could be Ghostface, and then it just kind of ended up being everybody. So it was really easy to tell, and this already has a pretty big cast, and so I'm really excited once again about the Guess Who element of this franchise, because that's just one of the most fun things about it. Scream 1 through 3, as well as Scream 4, like, it always kept me guessing, and the resolve was always great. I think that's one thing that is broadly accepted, that Scream 6's resolve was, it fell a little bit flat. If you were to rank all of the ghost faces, I can't see anybody having the Scream 6 ghost faces, like, near the top. You know what I mean? It's exciting that this cast is so big. There are a lot of different opportunities for some really compelling ghost faces and a really compelling finale, and I want to break down some of these personalities. And I think the one that just pops off as soon as I see this is McKenna Grace, this young actress that we've already kind of grown with, like Ghostbusters Afterlife. I absolutely loved that film. You also have The Haunting of Hill House. She's a really great young actress, but now we're seeing her kind of go into her teenage years, and this fits perfectly with her career trajectory. Very much like an Emma Roberts, and I think regardless, whichever way her character ends up going in the end, I think she's just a great actress and a great piece to this puzzle that's going to kind of form this thing. But you also have Celeste O'Connor, another Ghostbusters veteran, and I love her as an actress. You have Anna Camp, and I'm honestly not sure like who she's going to be playing. I can't really think of it for whatever reason. I'm thinking reporter, but I think I'm just making a Scream 4 connection there and being like, she's probably going to be the reporter in town. Who knows? But she's great. And then you also have Isabel May playing Sydney's daughter. Phenomenal casting choice there. And then you have a couple guys that I don't know, but some of you might know. You have Sam Reckner as well as Asa German. I don't really know them, but God, they both kind of look like Ghostface, don't they? But then the other two that are confirmed are obviously Neve Campbell, and then you have Courtney Cox coming back as Gale Weathers. And with everything that they went through in 5 and 6 aside, like, it's exciting to see these two back in action and kind of just as the mains of this movie, back at the forefront of it. We're gonna have to live with the fact that Dewey's not gonna be there. That's so sad thinking about it, that like the trio's not there, but that is what the Scream franchise is. Nobody's safe. I don't want to see Gale go. I don't want to see Sydney go. I don't want to see any of these people go, but at the end of the day, Ghostface is Ghostface, and he's gonna do Ghostface things. I think the other huge question that people have is, will Patrick Dempsey be returning as Mark Kincaid? And, you know, it was made clear in Scream 5 that her and Mark are together, Sydney and Mark are together still, and those kids are probably theirs, and so you would think he would make an appearance, but I just don't know if they were able to get him onto the project. That has not been confirmed so far, but I'm very much hoping so, even if it's just for a cameo. You know, I don't think at this point, since he's not confirmed, like, I don't think there are any big plans for him to be like maybe the Ghostface or something like that, but they could really just be trying to surprise everybody and keeping that a secret. Who knows? But you would find it a little bit funny if they ended up going that route, especially with Thanksgiving coming out and him kind of playing the ghost face of Thanksgiving in that film. And then you also have, like, I've been watching Dexter Original Sin, the new series, the new prequel for Dexter, and he's in that, and he kind of plays an asshole in that. And so I'd be curious to have him come back and see what type of dude Mark Kincaid is these days. Regardless, I think it just works really well with Sydney's character, at least having him there, but maybe we'll hear him on a phone call, maybe he'll come back. If they do confirm anything, I'll definitely try to talk about it here on the channel and let you guys know, but as of now, no Mark Kincaid. But moving on to the Batman Part 2, and man, it has been a crazy couple of weeks. You know, you had the appearance of Batman in Creature Commandos Episode 6. That was freaking awesome, and it blew my mind. But also, the Batman in that scene, it's a very big Batman. The dude looks like jacked, and it definitely does not look like Robert Pattinson's Batman. And so in a time that everybody's been discussing, like, do you think Robert Pattinson could join the DCU? To me, it felt like that confirmed it. James Gunn and Matt Reeves have gone out of their way to state that these are two different things, especially James Gunn. He's stated that the Batman is going to be DC Elseworlds. This is going to be a separate story, and let Matt Reeves showcase his epic crime saga. But I think the reason why a lot of this came up was because the Batman has now been delayed to 2027, and so there was a lot of speculation behind the scenes of like, okay, so at this point, is the script being like worked on? Is it done? They're saying it's not done. What is going on? Why is this taking so long? Because if we're pushing it back another year, maybe, just maybe, with the hype surrounding Superman and the trailer getting as many views as it did, maybe they're just completely rethinking everything and they're like, okay, Robert Pattinson is going to be the DCU's Batman. I feel like a lot of that has now been nixed. because Matt Reeves has now made a couple of statements. He's talked a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys a clip from Josh Horowitz. It's him interviewing Matt Reeves on the red carpet, and there's a lot of good stuff that's said, but something that isn't said that I heard in a different interview is just Matt Reeves talking about the fact that he's been going through some things, and I don't want to speculate about what those things might be. These are definitely personal matters for him, but I feel like hearing him say that adds a lot of clarity to the situation. When I heard that this was personal, when I heard that he was going through something and had something going on in his private life, that's when you sit back and you go, okay, you guys take as long as you need, get through whatever you need to get through, because at the end of the day, your personal life, what you got going on at home, whatever it is, that's most important, and the Batman comes second. But it does seem like things are calming down, and he's moving into this transition phase of 2025, going into production with the Batman Part 2, and it sounds like the script is almost done. And so that's really exciting. That's also just really confidence building. I don't know if that's the right thing to say there, but it's just because it has been a while. It has been a while since The Batman came out, and we want to see The Batman Part 2, man. I mean, The Batman is a phenomenal freaking movie, and I just want to see this continued. And so let's take a look at this clip. I want to hear some of the questions that Josh asked, and then let's hear Matt's answers and just kind of go through this thing together.
Are you happy with, obviously the release date changed for Batman Part 2?
Yeah.
You want the script to be in a good place?
Of course.
Are you happy with the progress you're making and the release date you have now?
Yes, absolutely. No, things are, this year we're going to be shooting, and I'm very excited about it. And it's there's been a lot of stuff going on, and, it's taken longer than I would have wanted, but also I'm super excited about what we're doing, so I really can't wait to share that with everybody.
So how tough has it been to figure out your main villain? There have been a lot of rumors lately. I've even heard Freeze as a potential villain.
Can't answer.
But by now you've determined who the bad guy is.
Yes, of course, or we'd really be in trouble.
Is it going to be surprising to the audience?
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think that the story is a continuation in a certain way and completely different in another, and is going to show a different sides of Rob. I think it's going to be really exciting. Cool.
Do you pay attention to the rumors out there? Because there are new rumors every single day.
You just kind of look at them casually and go like, oh, is that what they think now? Oh, interesting. Okay, but it's, you just got to put your head down and do what you do and try and do it as best you can.
And yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Just you get the overall vibe that anything that he was going through, he might still be going through some things, but it seems like the Batman Part 2 is finally kind of starting to take off. They're giving themselves a good cushion of time with that 2027 release date, but hopefully we hear extremely soon that the script is done, turned in, approved, and production is officially starting. Like, they've announced that production is going to start, but I want to hear that it's like officially freaking starting.
And last thing for you, I spoke to James Gunn recently, and I asked him, obviously he talked about, letting you do your Reeves verse on his own. And I did ask him, have you contemplated recently integrating Rob into the DCU? And he said they've talked about it, because you talk about everything.
Sure, yeah.
What's your attitude about that at this point?
It really comes down to whether or not it makes sense. And, I think what's been great is it was really a kind of a story that I wanted to tell, we're calling the epic crime saga and all of that, which is the thrust of what we wanted to do. And it's been important to me to be able to play that out. James and Peter have been really, really great about that, and they're letting us do that. And, what the future brings, I can't really tell you. I have no idea right now, except that my head is down now about getting the Batman Part 2 shooting and to make it something really, really special, which, of course, is the most important thing.
And if they decide, we really want Rob to be our DCU Batman?
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see where that goes.
Good God. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's a whole nother can of worms that has been opened up. That is more questions than answers right there. Like, a lot of stuff was kind of cleared up there in that clip, but the ending of that, just saying, we'll see, we'll see where things go. You never really know. That is wild to me, because in the past, it has always been said that, these are going to be two separate things. We're not even going to go down that road. We don't even need to talk about it. But all of a sudden, things have kind of changed. The attitude, the tone has kind of changed. And so, what do you guys think? Are they going to go through the Batman Part 2 and the Batman Part 3, get that done, and then maybe, do a 10-year time jump or something like that? Because Robert Pattinson is already old enough. He can play a younger Bruce Wayne still, and he can also play an older Bruce Wayne. I'm sure they could do something like that, but you have some sort of time jump. He joins up with Superman, and the world that we see in the epic crime saga begins to get a little bit more fantastical, you know what I mean? There is a way to make it work, and I'm extremely excited about the fact of having two different Batmans. I've always been excited about that, the prospect of that idea, having a fantastical Batman and then having this grounded gritty Batman. I like that a lot, but at the end of the day, Robert Pattinson as Batman, it works so well. I don't know what this means, and it probably doesn't mean anything, to be honest. It's probably just going to be two different Batmans. Brave and the Bold's still going to happen, and it's all just going to be like that, but I feel like there's a tone there. And some of Gunn's recent comments, it feels like there's a tone there, and it's definitely been talked about. It's definitely been tossed around, and I'm really curious to see where all that goes. But I also did forget that they talked about some villain stuff in this, and I wanted to highlight on that because here on my channel in the past, I've talked about Mr. Freeze, and I've talked about, you know, the different iterations of these villains that they could do. I've talked about Clayface a little bit, but what's exciting to me is that Matt Reeves is saying he thinks this is going to be something that fans don't really expect, and it's going to surprise people in a lot of ways. The Clayface movie that they've now announced with the DCU is going to be just that. It's going to be in the DCU. Now we've seen Clayface in Creature Commandos, so what does that mean for the villain in the Batman Part 2? A lot of people were saying it was going to be Clayface. Can you really have two of them going at the same time? Do you do some sort of Mr. Freeze type thing? Is it going to be Hush? I feel like they've already set that up really well if they're going to go that direction with some of the stuff and the Easter eggs that they put in the Batman Part 1. But then you also have Scarecrow, and you have the Court of Owls. There's so many freaking villains in the Rogues Gallery that they can fill out with this movie, and I'm just curious what he means by people are going to be surprised, because I think people are going to flip shit if it's Mr. Freeze, but I also think that there are so many different avenues that you could explore, and the fact that we're still just like hunting for any sort of breadcrumb on who it's going to be, that's fun. And now we're going to be in the thick of it. Now we're in 2025. Now production's going to start, and we're going to start to get some stuff that comes through, and we can finally start speculating. Really, a lot of really good stuff there. I am, as always, still so excited for the Batman Part 2. The Penguin was phenomenal. Now moving into this era, the Batman Part 2 era, and then everything going on with the DCU. I think one thing that I can confidently say is, being a DC fan, it's a beautiful time to be a DC fan. It's a time that you can actually just feel happy and excited for the future, because Superman, that trailer, it looks awesome. Everything going on with Creature Commandos and just the DCU in general, it seems great. James Gunn seems to know what he's doing, and then everything happening with Matt Reeves. We've already seen the Batman. We already know how good that is and what's to come with all of that, and so I'm excited. I'm freaking really excited, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts. What do you think about Scream 7? Production starting. Please don't be toxic in the comment section. Also, what do you think about the Batman Part 2 and all of this stuff coming out with Matt Reeves and the delay? What are your thoughts? Let me know down below. Also, my friends, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and keep up the good vibes. I'll see you in the next video. Peace!